After the king took away everything from Chuka and Princess Amaka, the villagers couldn't contain their happiness. They cheered and celebrated, grateful that the man who had been causing them trouble was no longer in charge. To mark the occasion, the king hosted a big feast at his palace. Everyone in the village attended, and there was singing, dancing, and plenty of food to go around. It was a joyful night for all. Meanwhile, Chuka and Princess Amaka had to return to the home of Chuka's parents, Amandi and Rafatu. While Chuka's parents were happy to have them back, things quickly took a turn for the worse. At Chuka's family home, Princess Amaka's behavior was rude and disrespectful. She refused to lend a hand in the kitchen and spoke unkindly to the elderly woman. Even Chuka seemed to have forgotten his manners, neglecting his duties on the family farm. Amandi and Rafatu were deeply hurt by their son and daughter-in-law's disrespectful behavior. Every night, they would retreat to their room, tears streaming down their cheeks as they prayed for guidance and a better future. They longed for their other son, Obi, to return home before they joined their ancestors. Their hearts ached for the love and respect they once knew from their family. One fateful day, after Amandi and Rafatu had left for the farm, Princess Amaka went to the kitchen to get food. When she opened the pot, she wasn't happy with the food inside. Fuming with anger, she stormed out of the kitchen and went straight to Chuka. "I can't take this anymore. What's all this? Your mother can't even prepare a decent meal," Princess Amaka exclaimed furiously. "What do you mean by that, Amaka? I'm tired of your bad attitude. You complain about everything. You don't cook, you don't clean, and whenever my mother cooks, you insult her," Chuka retorted angrily. "Or is it because I've been keeping quiet all this while? I've had enough of you, Amaka. Your constant nagging is making me regret ever marrying you." "Are you serious right now?" Princess Amaka asked. "Do you expect me to eat this poor man's food in this godforsaken house? Never. I can't continue like this. I even regret marrying you, Chuka. You're a bad influence on me. We don't eat this kind of food in the palace. This isn't your father's house, Amaka. Enough of your nonsense. You're supposed to be focused on giving me children, but no, you're only interested in food. What kind of woman are you?" Chuka yelled before slamming the door on Princess Amaka. After a few moments passed, Princess Amaka approached Chuka with a contrite heart. "Chuka, I'm truly sorry for my outburst earlier. I don't know what came over me. I was hungry and let my emotions get the best of me," she confessed, her voice filled with genuine remorse. Chuka, softened by her apology, responded with understanding. "It's all right, Amaka. I forgive you. I also regret the harsh words I said in the heat of the moment." Relieved by Chuka's forgiveness, Princess Amaka then suggested a new idea, her eyes bright with excitement. "Chuka, you know what?" Princess Amaka said, her eyes sparkling with a mischievous idea. "I've been thinking about something. What if I pretend to say sorry to my dad? I'll tell him we're not together anymore, and that might make him forgive me. Then, when he's feeling kind, I'll suggest to him that he should find another wife." Chuka looked at her with curiosity, intrigued by the proposal. "But we both know that your father has been resistant to the idea of remarriage ever since your mother's death. How do you plan to convince him?" he inquired. With a confident smile, Princess Amaka replied, "Trust me, my dear husband. I have a plan. I'll find the perfect woman for him, someone kind, beautiful, and understanding, and I'll make sure he sees how happy she could make him." She felt excited about the possibilities, imagining how she could orchestrate everything to her advantage. Few days after their evil plans, Princess Amaka decided to go to the palace to apologize to her father. When she reached the palace gate, the palace guards came out and stood in front of her. "Stop right there, Princess," one of the guards commanded, crossing his arms sternly. "No one can enter without permission from the king." Princess Amaka's heart sank with disappointment. She pleaded with the guards. "Please, I must see my father. It's urgent." Just then, the king, hearing the commotion, emerged from the palace. "Let her through," he commanded with a gentle smile. With a grateful nod, Princess Amaka hurried to her father's side. Falling to her knees, tears welled in her eyes as she poured out her heart. "Father, I've made a terrible mistake," she sobbed. "Please forgive me. I left my husband because he's cruel and deceitful. I can't marry him anymore." The king's heart softened as he listened to his daughter's plight. With a tender sigh, he embraced her and said, "My dear Amaka, you may stay with me, but on one condition. You must never return to Chuka." "I promise, father, I'll never go back," Amaka exclaimed with determination. A week passed, and Princess Amaka summoned her courage to speak to the king once more. "Father, may I have a word with you?" she asked timidly. The king nodded, and Amaka proceeded to share her plans of finding him a wife. "But father, you shouldn't be alone," she insisted. The king shook his head sadly. "I made a vow to your mother on her deathbed that I would never marry again," he explained. "Until I join her in the afterlife, I must remain faithful to her memory." "But father..." Amaka began to protest, only to be cut off by the king's stern gaze. "No more arguments, Amaka," he said firmly. "I have made up my mind. I wish to be left in peace." Disappointed but respectful of her father's wishes, Princess Amaka nodded silently and walked away, her heart heavy with unresolved emotions. Once inside, Princess Amaka began to ponder another plan. This time, she resolved to seek the help of a native doctor. She believed that with the charm the doctor would give her, she could influence her father, the king, in her favor. She purposely sought out a man who harbored a deep grudge against the king. She believed that approaching this particular man would increase the chances of her plan succeeding. When Princess Amaka reached the native doctor's shrine, she poured out her heart, explaining the reasons for her visit. "I know your father is a very wicked man," the native doctor remarked. "Do you know why I dislike him so much? Have you ever asked him why his once best friend is now his enemy?" "No, sir, I don't know. Father has never told us," Princess Amaka replied. And she became even more curious as she listened to the native doctor's words. "Why would he tell you?" the native doctor sneered. "Somebody that stole my girlfriend, your mother, from me. That's why your father is so wicked. I will do anything to make sure he is no more," he declared angrily. With determination, the native doctor handed Princess Amaka a mysterious substance. He instructed her to secretly put it inside the king's food when she returned home. When Princess Amaka got home, she quietly approached the food the palace maid had set on the dining table for the king. With stealthy movements, she opened it and poured everything inside. To her surprise, the king ate the food, and nothing happened to him. This made Princess Amaka hate her father even more. What kind of a man is this? Why did he refuse to leave this world? I am so tired of this old man, she muttered to herself. Later, while everyone was asleep, Princess Amaka quietly sneaked out of the palace and went to Chuka's house. Chuka was overjoyed to see her, thinking that Princess Amaka must have gotten rid of the king. However, Princess Amaka explained everything that had happened to him. Chuka was frustrated and disappointed. "You couldn't carry out a simple task. Look at how dumb and slow you are," Chuka said angrily. "Oh, please, Mr. Man, how dare you talk to me like that? Do you know what I have been through because of you?" "Please give me a break," Amaka retorted, feeling defensive. Okay, I understand. We'll do things my way this time around. How about we bribe the guards and then seize your father and your sister Chika? We can then sell them to the same guys we sold my brother Obi to," Chuka suggested. "Oh, what a brilliant idea." "You are so smart, my love," Princess Amaka said with a smile on her face. Once they managed to bribe the palace guards, Chuka and Princess Amaka swiftly put their plan into action. They grabbed the king and Princess Chika, whisking them away to the bush where they were sold to the very same strangers who had taken Obi. Despite Princess Chika and the king plea for mercy, Chuka and Princess Amaka remained unmoved. With hearts hardened by their thirst for power and revenge, they turned their backs on the king and Princess Chika, leaving them behind in anguish and despair. After Chuka crowned himself king and named Princess Amaka as his queen, they ruled the kingdom together. Their reign was marked by harsh rule and cruelty, causing the villagers to suffer greatly. The hardships they faced under Chuka's previous rule were now even worse. Every day, the villagers endured endless toil and misery, struggling to survive under the oppressive regime. They longed for the days when life was peaceful and their rights were respected. In their desperation, the villagers turned to prayer, hoping for divine intervention to end their suffering. Some elders of the village bravely went to the palace to plead for mercy. They begged Chuka to consider the plight of the people and show compassion. However, their pleas fell on deaf ears as Chuka callously dismissed them, threatening dire consequences if they dared to return. Feeling helpless and afraid, the villagers wondered if their prayers would ever be answered. They yearned for a day when they could live free from fear and oppression, dreaming of a brighter future where justice would prevail. Back in Obi's new village, the king and Princess Chika were brought to King Abina's palace. The strangers who had taken them there asked if King Abina would buy them as slaves. But King Abina refused. Instead, he suggested that they go to Obi's new palace and ask him. Since Obi had just arrived, maybe he would like to have some people to help him out. So, the strangers went to Obi's palace. When they arrived, Obi was shocked to see Princess Chika and her father, the king. He couldn't believe his eyes. With tears streaming down their faces, Obi rushed to them and hugged them tightly, feeling overjoyed to see them safe. Immediately, Obi ordered his guards to arrest the strangers. He did this to stop them from abducting other people and selling them off like they were goods. Obi couldn't bear the thought of anyone else suffering like Princess Chika and her father had. After taking a refreshing bath, Obi invited them inside his palace. They sat down together, and Obi's chef prepared a delicious meal for them. With excitement, they ate and enjoyed the food. After the meal, Obi asked the king how they had been abducted and brought to the palace. Princess Chika then recounted the whole story to Obi, with tears in her eyes. She begged Obi to return home with them, pleading for his help to rescue her 3 sisters, who were now slaves to Chuka. She also implored him to save their people from Chuka's terror. But Obi shook his head sadly. "My beautiful princess, I cannot go back now," he said gently. "I have just taken on the role of second in command here. These people need my attention. I cannot leave them now, my princess. I am sorry." "What about your parents? Don't you have feelings for them anymore? They think about you every day," Princess Chika said, her eyes filled with worry and sadness. Obi sat in silence for a few moments, contemplating Princess Chika's words. Memories of his parents flooded his mind, and he felt a pang of guilt for leaving them behind. "There is a time for everything, my princess," he finally spoke, his voice soft but resolute. Princess Chika nodded, understanding the weight of Obi's responsibilities in his new role. She knew that he couldn't abandon his duties to the people who now relied on him. Yet, her heart ached at the thought of her sisters suffering under Chuka's tyranny, and she longed for Obi's help in rescuing them. Obi reached out and gently took Princess Chika's hand. "I promise you, my princess, I will find a way to help your sisters and our people," he assured her, determination shining in his eyes. "But for now, I must focus on my responsibilities here. Trust me, Chika, I will not forget them, nor will I rest until they are safe." Princess Chika smiled weakly, grateful for Obi's reassurance. She knew that despite the distance separating them, their bond remained strong, and she had faith that Obi would do everything in his power to fulfill his promise. Back in Chuka's village, Amandi and Rafatu felt a deep sense of concern for their son's actions. They decided to go to the palace, hoping to plead with Chuka to stop mistreating the villagers. As they approached the palace gates, their hearts heavy with worry, they hoped that their words would reach their son's heart. However, when they arrived at the palace, Chuka met them with cold indifference. "What do you want?" he snapped, his tone harsh and unforgiving. "If you have nothing important to say, then leave." With trembling voices, they begged Chuka to slow down on how he treated people and to stop taking their properties. "Please, son, have mercy on the villagers," Amandi pleaded, his eyes filled with sorrow. "They are suffering because of your actions. Remember the values we taught you." After Chuka listened to his parents, he stood up, his face twisted with anger. "Is this what you both came here to say?" he exclaimed, his voice full of disbelief. "What insolence! How dare you? Or is it because you are my parents you think you can speak to me like this?" With a commanding tone, Chuka declared that Amandi and Rafatu were no longer allowed to come to the palace. And to make matters worse, he ordered that their farmland be taken away from them. It was like a thunderbolt striking down their hopes and dreams. Amandi and Rafatu couldn't believe what they were hearing. They had never imagined that their own son, now king, would treat them with such cruelty. They knew that their pleas for compassion had fallen on deaf ears. With heavy hearts, they made their way back home, their hopes for change dashed by Chuka's unwillingness to listen. Few weeks after their food at home ran out, Amandi and Rafatu decided to go to their farm so they could get something to eat. As they were gathering produce, Chuka's guards suddenly appeared and grabbed them. With force, they were dragged to the palace. When they arrived at the palace, Chuka commanded the guards to lock them up. "Never give them food or water for 3 days, he ordered angrily. Amandi and Rafatu couldn't believe what was happening. They pleaded for mercy, but Chuka's heart was as cold as stone. Locked away in the palace dungeon, Amandi and Rafatu felt helpless and afraid. They wondered how they would survive without food or water for 3 long days. It was a cruel punishment for simply trying to feed themselves. Back in Obi's village, after a long day of settling disputes among the villagers, Obi decided to take a nap. As he drifted off to sleep, the same mysterious voice from before returned to him. "Obi, my son, why are you so stubborn?" it asked. "I've told you many times to go back to your people, but you refuse. Get up, Obi. Your parents need you now. They've been locked up in the palace cell without food or water. Go now, Obi, go, or it will be too late." Obi hesitated, voicing his concern. "But, wise one," he replied, "I heard that Chuka now has the most powerful warriors, even stronger than King Obina's own." "Obi, my son," the voice boomed louder, "I have given you the most powerful strength ever. Only you can defeat them all. But remember, on one condition, do not cut your hair, Obi. I repeat, do not cut your hair, or disaster will strike." "How do we get there on time, my lord?" Obi asked, feeling anxious about the distance of their village. "Take this chalk," the voice instructed. "Rub it on your palm, along with the princess and her father. You will find yourselves in your village, and when you arrive, seek out the golden staff, take it, and victory shall be yours." When Obi woke up, he followed the voice's instructions. Alongside the king and Princess Chika, they found themselves in their own village. Quietly, they hid until midnight. Then Obi struck, defeating all of Chuka's warriors single-handedly. The 3 princesses and Obi's parents were rescued, while Chuka and Princess Amaka were sent to prison to be locked up forever. The villagers rejoiced to see their king, Obi, and Princess Chika alive and victorious. Amandi and Rafatu thanked the gods for keeping their son safe, grateful to see him again before they joined their ancestors. It was a day of celebration and triumph for the village, as justice prevailed and peace was restored at last. After the villagers celebrated their liberation and freedom from Chuka's reign, the king made a surprising announcement. He declared Obi as the new king. The crowd erupted in surprise and excitement, wondering why the king had chosen Obi while he was still alive. Addressing the curious crowd, the king explained his decision. "I know you people are curious and want to know the reasons I made Obi king while I am still alive," he began. "You see, I am not getting any younger, and I don't want to stress myself anymore. You all know I don't have a male child who would succeed me when I am gone. So, from today onwards," the king continued, "I hereby declare Obi as the king of this great kingdom." The crowd erupted in ecstatic cheers, thrilled by the unexpected turn of events. Obi, humbled by the honor bestowed upon him, stood tall as the new king, ready to lead his people into a brighter future. Back in Udo village, King Obinna was furious when he heard that Obi had returned to his own village without informing him. "How dare he leave without my permission?" the king roared. "And why didn't he take my daughter Princess Adaku with him?" As the king Fumed, one of the guards, spoke up. "My king, I heard that Obi is already married to the daughter of their king, the same lady that was brought to you alongside her father the other day by the strangers." "What nonsense!" King Obinna exclaimed. "So, Obi had a wife before he was abducted and brought to this village. How come he never mentioned this to me? That little boy thinks he's smart." Determined to have his way, King Obinna sent word to Obi, reminding him of the promise he had made to marry Princess Adaku. He gave Obi 2 weeks to make a decision, threatening to attack Obi's village if he refused. When Obi received the message, he was filled with anger. "How could King Obinna try to force me to marry his daughter?" Obi said. "She has been rejected by so many suitors because of her body size. Now he wants to force her on me. Never. That won't happen, not after everything I did for them." Obi's face flushed with frustration as he vowed to stand his ground against King Obinna's unreasonable demands. Amandi overheard his son shouting in anger, prompting him to approach Obi. "My dear king, what troubles you?" he inquired gently. Obi then proceeded to confide in his father, sharing all that had transpired. After listening attentively to his son's account, Amandi let out a heavy sigh. "You see, my dear son Obi, aren't you tired of fighting? Are you not tired of war?" he questioned softly. "Please, my son, let us tread with caution. You know the king has been good to you," Obi retorted with frustration. "But father, I have been good to him too. I saved his village from being attacked by their rivals. He should be grateful for that." "I know, my son," Amandi conceded. "But what will you gain if you go to war with them? I know you will definitely emerge victorious, but there is no need for anger. Just marry his daughter and let peace reign. You can divorce later if you like." Obi's frustration grew as he spoke with his father. "Father, have you seen Princess Adaku? She's so big and intimidating. Many men have said no to her. Now King Obinna wants me to marry her. I won't let that happen, not ever." Obi's voice was filled with determination. "That can't happen. Never, father." With that, Obi stormed off, leaving his father behind, his heart heavy with conflict. When Obi stepped inside, he was startled by Princess Chika's unexpected suggestion. "Why would you even think that, my love?" Obi asked, feeling bewildered. "Are you suggesting I marry the princess, even if I don't love her? Aren't you upset that I want another wife? What's going on?" Princess Chika sighed softly, her eyes reflecting weariness. "I just want peace, my love," she explained gently. "I'm tired of all the conflict. Please, let's not argue." Obi paused, trying to comprehend her perspective. But marrying someone I don't love, it's not right, he insisted. And I can't ignore my feelings for you. Princess Chica nodded, understanding his hesitation. I know, my love, she said softly. Let's choose peace over everything else. Obi's heart softened as he looked into Princess Chica's eyes, realizing the depth of her love and her desire for harmony. All right, he said finally, reaching out to hold her hand. For peace, I'll consider it. After paying Princess Adaku's bride price, Obi brought her home to his palace. However, once there, he noticed a concerning pattern. Princess Adaku would eat and eat until she fell asleep, neglecting her personal hygiene by refusing to bathe for days on end. Despite Obi's gentle reminders to slow down on her food intake due to her worsening weight, Princess Adaku brushed him off. Please leave me alone, Mr. Man, she'd retort. Allow me to enjoy my life. Please try and focus on your own business. Since you refused to touch me ever since I came to this godforsaken palace of yours, let me enjoy my best friend, which is food, she'd insist, while continuing to devour large portions of food. Obi couldn't help but feel dismayed and frustrated. He had hoped for a peaceful union, but instead, he found himself regretting his decision to marry Princess Adaku. When Princess Adaku noticed that Obi wasn't paying her any attention, she calmly packed her things and returned to her father's house. Obi couldn't help but feel a surge of joy. He was over the moon. Finally, this heavyweight champion foodie is out of my life for good, he exclaimed with relief. 5 long years had passed since Obi married Princess Chica, yet she had not conceived a child. Concerned and anxious about the lack of an heir, Obi began contemplating the idea of taking a second wife who might bear him a child. He decided to discuss this with his wife Chica, who reluctantly agreed, but with one condition: he must marry one of her sisters. Are you serious right now? Obi asked incredulously, feeling uncomfortable with Chica's suggestion. No, I can't marry your sister. I won't even consider it. How can I possibly marry 2 sisters? It's unheard of in our kingdom, and I won't be the first person to do it, he declared firmly. When Obi shared his dilemma with Chica's father, he was surprised by his response. Chica's father then revealed that he was actually the one who suggested the idea to Princess Chica in the first place, and the other princess has already agreed to marry King Obi. We're just waiting for your decision, he said. Obi was dumbfounded. Are you serious, father? You really want me to marry Chica's sister? He exclaimed in disbelief. Yes, my son. It's much better for you to marry her than to marry a stranger we know nothing about, the king explained calmly, hoping to persuade Obi to see the wisdom in his suggestion. A few days later, Obi finally agreed to marry Princess Ada. At first, she seemed friendly and enjoyable to be around, but everything changed when she discovered she was pregnant just a month after their wedding. Suddenly, Princess Ada's attitude completely shifted. Out of nowhere, she started accusing Princess Chica of horrible things, saying she practiced dark magic and even accused Chica of eating her own children. Chica, feeling the weight of her own barrenness, would sometimes lock herself away, crying out loud, questioning the gods for denying her the blessing of children. One day, Rafatu, Chica's mother-in-law, walked in and found her sobbing uncontrollably. My dear daughter-in-law, wipe those tears away, Rafatu said gently, her voice full of understanding. Think of our own struggles, how your father-in-law and I endured 15 long years of tears, pain and mockery before the gods blessed us with Obi and Chuka. Chica's tears continued to fall. But how much longer must I endure, mother? I feel like I'm going mad, she cried out, her voice trembling with despair. Stay strong, my dear. The gods have their own plans, but they will answer your prayers when the time is right, Rafatu reassured her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder before leaving her to her thoughts. One day, Chica's friend came to visit her and suggested they go see a native doctor who might have herbs to help Chica have a baby. At first, Chica wasn't sure, but then she remembered how her sister had made fun of her for not having any children. With a sad feeling, Chica decided to go with her friend to the native doctor's place. When they got there, the native doctor gave Chica some special herbs that were supposed to help her get pregnant. Chica then thanked the native doctor before leaving with her friend. She felt hopeful that these herbs might finally make her dream of being a mother come true. The native doctor had given Chica specific instructions to rub the herbs gently on her stomach when she arrived home. Following the instructions carefully, Chica applied the herbs with hope in her heart, longing for the possibility of finally becoming a mother. However, her hopes were dashed when Princess Ada unexpectedly barged into the room. Princess Ada's sudden appearance sent shockwaves through the palace. She began shouting and screaming, accusing Chica of bringing harmful charms into the palace to harm her and her unborn child. Her accusations echoed loudly, drawing the attention of everyone in the palace. Obi rushed to the scene, his heart heavy with disbelief. He couldn't fathom that Chica, the woman he loved, could ever be capable of such a thing. However, the accusations against her cast a dark shadow over their relationship. With a heavy heart, Obi made a difficult decision. Despite his love for Chiki, he knew he had to uphold justice and maintain peace in the palace. Addressing Chiki, Obi gently asked her to move to the maids' quarters temporarily. He explained that until the truth was uncovered, it was necessary for her to stay away from the main chambers. Though torn between his love for Chica and the accusations against her, Obi knew he had to take decisive action to protect the integrity of the palace and its inhabitants. A few months later, Ada gave birth to a healthy baby boy, filling Obi with immense joy. They celebrated with a grand ceremony, inviting all the villagers to join in the festivities. Amidst the feasting and dancing, Ada's pride soared. She took every opportunity to taunt Chica, boasting about giving birth to the king's son and rightful heir to the throne. With every jab, Ada's words pierced Chica's heart like sharp arrows. "Your mother couldn't give your father a son, and neither can you." Ada jeered, her voice filled with malice. Chica, struggling to hold back her tears, held on to her faith, whispering to herself, "God won't abandon me. He'll answer my prayers in his time." But Ada's cruel words pushed Chica to her limit. "How dare you insult me like that?" Chica shot back, her voice trembling with anger. "I even regret ever begging Obi to marry you as his second wife." As tensions escalated, Chica decided to remove herself from the toxic situation. However, when she turned to Obi for support, he brushed her off, consumed with attending to his newborn son and heir. Feeling abandoned and betrayed, Chica left, her heart heavy with disappointment, realizing that the man she thought was her loving husband had turned his back on her. 6 months later, Princess Ada found herself expecting another child, much to Obi's delight. One night, overcome with excitement, Obi decided to pay her a visit to check on her and their unborn baby. However, as he approached her chambers, he overheard a heated argument between Ada and one of the palace guards. In disbelief, Obi listened as the guard accused Ada of bearing his child and threatened to reveal their secret to the king. "I can't stand by and watch another man raise my child," the guard exclaimed, his voice filled with frustration. "You must come with me, or I'll expose everything to the king." Ada, desperate to keep the truth hidden, pleaded with the guard, reminding him of the consequences if their affair were to be discovered. "I pay you monthly, don't I?" she implored, her voice tinged with panic. "You know the king would punish us severely if he found out." Just then, Obi swung the door open, catching Ada and the guard off guard. Shocked and dismayed by what he had just witnessed, Obi silently turned away, his heart heavy with anger, disappointment, and disbelief. How could Ada betray him and their marriage by allowing herself to become involved with a palace guard? The revelation left Obi feeling betrayed and shattered, unsure of what to do next. Hey viewers! If you're enjoying this video and want to see the next part of this captivating story, drop a comment saying, "Continue." Don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you never miss an update. Your support means everything.